We live in a world of infinite abundance. We have access to millions of products, endless entertainment, and global social networks right in our pockets. Yet rates of anxiety and feelings of chronic overwhelm are soaring. When you feel paralyzed by a simple decision or exhausted after a day of scrolling, the instinct is to blame your own willpower. The reality is a biological mismatch. You are trying to navigate a highly complex digital environment using a brain that evolved 200,000 years ago. Our cognitive hardware was built for small hunter-gatherer tribes, open savannas, and relative scarcity. Today, our physical environments are incredibly safe, but the sheer volume of daily inputs is short-circuiting those ancient biological alarm systems, causing them to fire constantly. For most of human history, daily choices were simple and scarce. You ate what you could forage, and your path was dictated by the seasons. Now, we make thousands of mundane decisions before noon, from picking a coffee blend to selecting a health insurance plan. Every single choice requires directed attention, the conscious focus needed to weigh options. This limited biological resource drains fast. Psychologist Barry Schwartz identified the trap. Passing a manageable threshold of choice has the opposite effect. We become paralyzed by options, left with lingering anxiety. Our culture insists that giving people more options makes them happier. The data shows the reverse. Relentlessly piling on choices strips away our cognitive bandwidth and fuels chronic stress. Psychologist Abraham Maslow placed belonging near the very bottom of his hierarchy of human needs, right alongside food and shelter. It is a mandatory requirement for a stable mind. Our ancestors survived in groups, or they didn't survive at all. Being excluded from the tribe meant losing access to food and protection. Exile was a death sentence, so the human brain evolved to treat social rejection as a severe physical threat. During social exclusion, specific brain regions light up, the exact same circuits that process physical injuries. Today, superficial screen connections leave our need for acceptance unmet. Our nervous system interprets this isolation identical to a physical blow, triggering a loop of stress hormones. That feeling of being totally alone in a crowded room or invisible in a group chat is your ancient biology ringing the alarm. It is a literal warning that your survival is at risk. This brings us to the biophilia hypothesis, the idea that human well-being is intrinsically tied to the natural world. Our ancestors spent their entire lives reading the weather, navigating terrain, and finding water. Our biology expects to be immersed in nature. Modern humans spend less than 10% of their day outdoors. We have swapped time in the dirt for time on screens, and children are often better at identifying fictional characters than the plants and wildlife in their own backyards. According to attention restoration theory, the sights and sounds of nature are deeply restorative. The fractal patterns of trees and the sound of running water gently capture our focus in a way that is completely effortless, giving our exhausted decision-making circuits a chance to power down and recover. The physiological impact is immediate. Decades of research show that brief contact with nature lowers pulse rates, drops cortisol levels, and even makes people more likely to help a stranger. By sealing ourselves inside climate-controlled buildings and staring at glowing rectangles, we have severed our connection to our brain's most effective built-in mechanism for stress relief. We cannot download a software update for a 200,000-year-old brain. If we want to function properly, we have to intentionally engineer our modern environments to support our ancient hardware. The first strategy is subtracting to satisfy. Protect your cognitive bandwidth by artificially limiting your daily choices. Pick a standard breakfast, automate your savings, and ignore the extra genes. Save your directed attention for the decisions that actually matter. We also need to treat the outdoors like a mandatory prescription. Interventions like the David Suzuki Foundation's challenge, asking people to spend 30 minutes a day in nature for a single month, result in massive drops in anxiety and significant boosts in daily vitality. To heal our social pain networks, we must break the rejection sensitivity cycle. That requires stepping away from the superficial metrics of likes and followers and taking the vulnerable risk of building physical, face-to-face communities where you are valued for who you are, rather than how you perform. Improving mental health today rarely involves adding a new life hack or a shiny coping mechanism. It requires aggressively removing the artificial complexities we've layered over our lives. You don't have to sell all your possessions and move entirely off the grid for peace. Thriving is a practice of fierce curation. It is the active enforcement of boundaries against infinite scrolling, endless consumer choices, and shallow digital interactions. Mastering the modern world doesn't mean becoming more like a machine. It means respecting the ancient, natural programming of the human mind.